So, among many of the things that artillery intelligence does, twice per year we hide ourselves away, turn the phones off, and go deep into a market sizing exercise. And then weeks later, with several Excel worksheets in hand, we emerge with our XR market size estimates and 5-year outlook. But an important question is, how do we come up with these figures and what do they include? And we get that question a lot, and it's important to specify because one reason for such variance across industry projections is differences in methodology and more so, what's being tracked. So first, what does our market sizing include? So we're specifically looking at AR and VR products, and that includes at a high level, hardware and software. In VR, that's headsets on the hardware side, and games and apps on the software side. In AR, that's smart glasses on the hardware side, and various forms of app revenue on the software side. And importantly, we don't include things like smartphone sales for mobile AR because it's an existing device on which AR's function is secondary. And the same goes for PCs or gaming consoles that run VR headsets. We also don't include adjacent areas of spending such as enterprise consulting. We include spending on ad placements in AR and VR, but not the production costs for ad creative and salaries. And similarly, we don't include the development costs of game studios to produce VR games or cinematic assets. And another example is that we include the VR equipment bought and deployed by VR arcades as enterprise spending, and then the admission they charge as consumer spending, but we don't include the design and construction and operational costs of those facilities. So those are just a few examples to give you an idea of our general philosophy of what's included when we say XR revenue, and some of those things really could go either way, and we respect anyone who decides to include or not include some of those revenue sources in their market sizing. But the main point is that in any forecast, it's important to consider what's being measured before assessing or taking strategic guidance away from it, because some of those variables can sway the outcome by billions of dollars. So beyond what's included, there's the matter of methodology, and lots of analyst firms get a reputation for calling it in or doing lots of guesswork, and there might be some that do. We like to pride ourselves in a very extensive revenue modeling procedure that takes weeks and comes together in a massive spreadsheet with several tabs and thousands of active cells, and that's essentially broken up by the different subsegments of AR and VR that are each governed by different market dynamics and unit economics. So we build intricate models that comply with those dynamics, and then the second half of the battle, beyond the integrity of the model itself, is plugging in the inputs that we know to be accurate, such as current sales or installed hardware bases, and then we project forward based on their growth trajectories and comparable and historical growth trends. So if you're familiar with industry standard forecasting methodologies, we primarily use the bottom-up method, which builds up from granular market factors like current sales and installed bases and pricing and other things. But then we vet that against a top-down approach as a sort of gut check. And that applies historical comps for industry growth and how the sector stacks up to GDP and stuff like that. And these are tactics we've internalized over 15 years of market sizing, and the result is a level of confidence in triangulating current revenues and future projections in a disciplined way. Bottom line, though, there's certainly some educated assumptions that go into any market sizing and forecasting. One thing we're sure of is that the next few years are going to be an exciting time for immersive computing.